Hey, what is the deal, YouTube? It is Craig Harris, the black man in the green chair, and this is Craig's Corner. It is 11 a.m. on the East Coast. It is 8 a.m. on the left coast. So shout out to everybody out there, all the people in England and Germany, Scandinavia, Australia, Indonesia, China, Japan. Yes, there are people in those countries listening that will listen to this podcast and maybe even listening live. So shout out to all you guys. I appreciate you all being here. And I got a few topics here. I'm going to go ahead and go into. I'll start with some late movie news, Comic-Con news. The Black Panther movie is going to be one of Marvel's big feature sets at Comic-Con. Entertainment Weekly, I don't know if you guys want to go pick that magazine up. They've got a nice group of cover pictures on the Black Panther movie. If you're interested in getting into what it's going to be about, a little bit of the story snippet, things like that, some backdrop of the characters. But again, this just happened. And Comic-Con is next Friday, Saturday, Sunday out in California, I believe. So, but shout out to everybody that's going. I'll be bringing information on that. But I'll move that to more of the Porch Light podcast, which again, those are late at night. That's what I do after. I used to do Porch Light between 10 p.m. Eastern and 11 p.m. Eastern, something I do before I turn in. So but a big shout out to everybody. Let me give a big shout out here to Randall Thor for coming on the show Monday. Great time talking to him. If you all haven't listened to that, you all go find that video. I should have linked it in the chat, and I didn't. I may come back and do it later. But big shout out to him, just talking games. Appreciated it. Good time as always. Let me go ahead and move on to what has been happening in gaming. I'll start with Star Wars Battlefront 2 because I'm going to give some good news for the Xbox X here. Show that it's getting an enhanced mode. So what's the difference between an enhanced mode and a 4K mode and things like that? We already know this by now. You guys know what the differences are. Enhanced means it will be patched after release. Now, I think Battlefront 2 comes out after the release of the Xbox. So you guys can go check that out. If you're getting it on Xbox X, it will have an enhanced mode. Now, doesn't say what exactly it is. We'll probably find out a little bit more at D23 coming up in like 48 hours. So, but it's good that they let this out because this spins with what I had been told about the mode that it was going to have. Because, you know, with Microsoft, they have a 4K mode. They've got 4K Ultra mode, which they include native checkerboarding, sparse, dynamic resolutions. They have an enhanced mode, which are patches. Now, it may be a patch to make it be more stable at the frame rate they're going to use. It may be a patch for other. It could be sound. It could be a bunch of things going in. It may be one thing going in. They only have to. It's not like they have to take advantage of everything. This is what's being kind of lost on the Xbox community, is that everybody is under this impression that the developers have to take advantage of all or nothing. They only have to do one thing, and Microsoft can call it enhanced. So that's just a reality of the situation. So shout out to everybody in the chat, the 4 or 5 people watching. What's up? It's Wednesday. I had a surprise day off today. So before I go to the pool with my adult beverage and read my Black Panther comic book, I wanted to do this video with everybody. So that's the enhanced mode. It doesn't say what they're enhancing, but they can, like I said, they can enhance 2 things. They can enhance 20 things. They may enhance 1 thing. It's just the reality of the situation. But let me keep getting into it. Let's move on. That's about all the big Xbox news I got. They do have some sales online for Xbox One S and things like that. I'm talking about crazy sales. Same with PlayStation. This crazy sales online, especially Amazon UK. All you people that are in the UK, you all can get steals at this point. I'm talking about, you know, 1 terabyte Xbox One S, I believe, for let me see here. Yeah, for like $237. I mean, that's a pretty good, that's a good buy, I'm going to say. That's going to be a good buy. I recommend that buy for everybody, you know, that wants the game. And again, if you have a 4K TV and you like the media stuff, you're strong on the media end of it, meaning Blu-ray, the Blu-ray movies and things like that, streaming, that's a good buy. And, you know, Xbox does have enough games to keep you interested. They've also added a couple more backwards compatible games. They're getting very close to, I know they got over 100, maybe 150 backwards compatible titles. So they're doing what they can, guys. They're doing what they can, and people should just quit. People need to accept them for what they are and not what they want them to be. I mean, you hear people saying that, you know, you heard people say that, you know, be the behemoth you are and things like that. So, and Microsoft has made its money on the PC end, not on the console end. The consoles were started by Bill Gates and Paul Allen, and neither one of those gentlemen, you know, shout out to both those gentlemen, they don't work there anymore. I mean, they're still there as a liaisons and things like that, but Paul Allen owns the Seattle Seahawks, I believe, and of course Bill Gates is a philanthropist now, so it's just the way it is, you know. So, but let's move on here. The PlayStation 4 got a 4.72 update, and it allegedly doesn't do a heck of a whole lot of anything. It just doesn't. That's coming from express.com down here. I got that link in the description. It just doesn't do a whole lot. Now, it could be building upon something else that's coming up, which a lot of the times that's what these things are. They'll put, you know, they're building brick and mortar, however you want to put it. They're building that, and I'm going to talk about brick and mortar pretty soon. But they're trying to build something, and, you know, they're putting in different stuff. And their 5.0 update is supposed to be their real big one. So they have to wait and see what that's going to be. That's supposed to be a real big one, though, allegedly. So, and we'll have to wait and kind of see what that is. So, yeah, keeping it real. What's up to everybody? Keeping it real, gaming media. What's going on? So, let's see here. Is Xbox are confused how 16-bit floats work? Yeah, they're confused about a lot of things. You gotta, you just gotta, you almost have to roll your eyes at them. You almost have to roll their eyes at them. So let me get through the news. I'll answer some questions. So the 4.72 update is not doing a heck of a whole lot. So allegedly, you know, it's added some stability, things like that. You got to understand, again, third-party developers are not going to bend over backwards and take advantage of the PlayStation Pro. They're just not going. They don't have to. There's nothing that Sony can't put a gun to their head and say, yeah, you're going to do this. Now, there's some developers, you know, like Insomniac. Big shout out to Insomniac Games, who did say that Spider-Man on the PS4 is going to be 2 or 3 times bigger than Sunset Overdrive. Now, I don't know how big Sunset Overdrive is, but again, Insomniac has improved on that model. So it's a lot of the same engine. You know, a lot of the things that were happening in Sunset Overdrive that Spider-Man is going to be doing. So except he's Spider-Man. So got to wait and see how that plays out. So shout out to Insomniac Games. Insomniac Games broke that news yesterday evening. So, and you all can go check that out. Like I said, there's a lot of things that are out there that I just can't fit into the subscription. It'll say wording too long or some stuff like that. So, but let me move on to the big one, which is Destiny 2, which is going to have a huge story. The people at Bungie are literally, and you can go to this article on PCGamer.com. They literally say they hope the quote is, I hope people try to talk about the story mode on this game. So apparently it's going to have a huge story. They really have nipped that in the bud as far as what the big the big thing was in Destiny last game. In essence, we did, you know, we were pretty much beta testers on that game. It's the same with Star Wars Battlefront 1. You, in essence, were just a giant beta tester. When I found that out about 3 weeks before the game came out, I didn't buy the game. I rented the game because I think Sony had a free weekend of online. They had like a free online weekend. And so I played that game online. And look, everybody either played the Jakku battle on the PlayStation or they played the Walker Assault. That's how everybody was playing, you know. So, and it was fun. It wasn't just a, I thought they were just going to kind of do a skin replacement and, you know, for Battlefield, but that's not what they did. It felt like a Star Wars game. They got the physics down. They just did not have enough time to get the gameplay right. So hopefully with Star Wars Battlefront 2, that's what we get. Now, we know we're getting a canonized story, so you're going to get a decent story on this one. So, and also other news, it's official. Naughty Dog has confirmed that the DLC or the Uncharted Legacy game is a 10-hour game. So whether we now like it or not, whether the Xbox community likes it or not, they're going to have to get over. This is another game. It went from being a 4-hour DLC to being a complete game, 8 to 10-hour game. It's a standalone. It will come in a physical disc, and it will be out August 22nd. Ships August 18th, US. So be in stores on the 22nd. Midnight launch, I think, at GameStop. If you all still go to GameStop, which gets me to the commentary, which is we're at a time now, and shout out to Review Tech, Rich Review Tech, because he brought this up about 3 or 4 days ago. We're at a time now where you're going to see more people downloading their games instead of going to the store, brick and mortar, and like a GameStop or a Target or something like that, Meijer, Walmart. They're just not going to be doing that. So it is what it is. So, and a lot of the people, as they get more comfortable with buying things online, as they get more comfortable doing that, they're going to start switching to downloading their games. I haven't downloaded. Hold on. I have downloaded some games on the Xbox One S, but I have not downloaded Elite Dangerous. I downloaded Star Trek Online, I think it's called. I downloaded that. So and World of Tanks, of course, you know. So I downloaded those 3 games, and those are, you know, they aren't physical copies. PlayStation has the only physical console copies of Elite Dangerous, not unless they went back and they may have went back and done it for the Xbox as well. And if they have, that's great. That's great. So, but that's where we're at, folks. I mean, it was just like Rich with Review Tech was saying, you know, it used to be a time when people bought a bunch of CDs like me. I still buy CDs. All right. But he's right. I went to the mall a few days ago, and there are no music stores at the mall. Even FYI, they're selling a bunch of movies now. You know, they don't sell a lot of CDs. They said they will order them for you. They will give you if you sign up with that little card and you swipe the card, they give you 10% off or something like that. But I mean, my point is that we have reached a point of diminished returns when it comes to this. And GameStop, and he broke this, and shout out to Rich Review Tech, GameStop lost $100 million last year. They're not going to regain that back. So they are really, really wanting the Xbox X and the new PlayStation to come out. And one reason why there haven't been any pre-orders of the Xbox One X is because GameStop really doesn't know how to do a trade-in program yet. They don't know how to do that yet, because what are people going to trade in on it? They're going to trade in a lot of their old Xboxes and or Xbox One S's. They are anticipating that to be a 3-to-1 sale. So they get stuck with all this product in their store and nobody buys it. That's why I'm telling people now, and shout out to Porter Rock 77. He said he's going to buy an Xbox One S. You will probably be able to get a 1 or 2 terabyte when around the holidays used, probably for about $230 at GameStop. because and 2 terabytes is actually not bad, and you have access to the exact same games. Yes, the smoke and scratches in Forza 7 aren't going to look as good as they do with the 4K assets, but this is what I've challenged people: what games has been announced by Microsoft that's going to use 4K assets? What games? You know, so that's been my question up front. The only game that I can think of is Forza 7, which is fine. I'm not dissing it, but don't sit up there and tell me all these games are going to come out and use 4K assets. Because nothing's been announced, nothing at all. So that was my little take on that. So yeah, we've reached the point where there's going to be way more people downloading their game, and eventually, even with Sony, they're streaming the content. You know, Rich, shout out to him again. He had a good video on this. He was playing Final Fight or something like that, and he was streaming it in 720, whatever it was, and he had zero lag. He has zero lag. So if we're getting to that point where Sony is starting to beef up that infrastructure, the next step for Sony to take in order for more people to stream is to do what? Get the games to 1080p on stream. So, and again, I've not streamed on Wi-Fi before. I've always, when I had PS Now, I had a hardline connection. That way I guaranteed I was going to be able to do it. So, where are you going to be in Porter Ross? If he has one today, and if he wants to do one, yeah, I'm going to tweet him in about another hour to see if he's going to do it, another 60 frames. So we'll see. I'm off today. It shocked me. I thought I was working. I worked yesterday, and I thought I was working today, off Thursday, working Friday. But I got my days mixed up. I was off today. I'm working tomorrow and Friday. So I'm off Saturday. So let's see here. Somebody asked, what do I feel about 240 FPS on the PS5? I feel that if I have no idea if it's going to do that. I will say this though, this is what I said to Randall Thor. Would I think it would be the ultimate troll if people started saying stuff like that after 18 and a half months or whatever it was of nothing but Scorpio talk and Beast is coming and all this kind of stuff and 4K 60 and this whatever? Yeah, I think that would be funny, but that's just somebody speculating. And what people did is they took a speculative article and they ran with it, because the entire media, not the entire, but most of the media, they ran the same story. So whether it's on Gaming Bolt or Eurogamer.net, doesn't matter. It's coming from the same source. So as far as when it's coming out, 2019, I feel they will announce it in 2019, but I don't think it'll be here until 2020, because we're already, they still have games coming out next year. I mean, what does that look like if they, have Spider-Man and Death Stranding and all that stuff, and then they're talking about a PS5 and they haven't even got those games out yet. So we just know there's going to be one, and that's where I've stopped with it. And again, me and shout out to Kratos, the god of PlayStation, J-Dub. We did our podcast on what we think they would shoot for, and you all can go back and listen to those podcasts, but it's just us shooting the shit. We're doing some deductive speculating based on what Sony has done in the past. And generally, they do generational leaps. They do not do stuff like the Pro is stuff they generally do not do. So, but it is what it is. The Pro does exactly what I thought it would do. So it's speculation, but Sony go with AMD Ryzen 7 1700. Then 60 FPS at 120 would be possible at 4K. Yeah. I mean, again, and what have I said? I've always said that 1440p at 60 is a nice. If for consoles, to me, that's a good sweet spot, because your 4K television already upscales. It already upscales. You give people 1440p, high textures, HDR, maybe Dolby Vision, maybe it'll do something like that. I mean, again, I wouldn't put Dolby Vision in because the TVs with Dolby Vision are incredibly expensive. So, and they're not coming down anytime soon. So they're just not. So, unfortunately, so way too early to be talking about PS5. I agree, Psycho Gamer. That, like I said, I think it would be a troll if people did start talking about it, because all those people have heard for the last 18 months is Beast is coming and 4K 60 and Vega Ryzen C. I mean, with this, my point is that I hope they don't start doing that, because what it immediately does is we already know it's coming out, and it more than likely will be more powerful than the PlayStation or than the Xbox. So all this talk on power is now gone, because everybody is now reporting. Even the Jack Reacher sites are picking these stories up. So it hasn't been announced. Well, it's been announced that they're going to make a PS5. That has been announced. What's speculatory is what it's going to have in it. That's the truth. That's where we are with the PS5. So it's way too early. I don't disagree with you, Cycle, but it was way too early to talk about the Scorpio. It was. Sony started the power talk. Well, I mean, again, and this is why. And again, let me tell you all about the whole thing with the whole power thing. And all right. Here's what happened. Microsoft at their E3, and I don't know if it was 20, and you all may have heard me say this. Microsoft at their E3, and I can't remember if it was 2014 or 2015. They showed The Witcher 3 on their screen. Now, because of what had happened previously in 2014 with Watch Dogs, people went in to try to figure out, okay, who in the world, all right, what in the world is this build? Is this a PC build? Is this the actual Microsoft build? Well, people found out, again, Microsoft lied and was showing PC footage on their screen. So when people were getting their games, it looked like they had been downgraded, and truly they hadn't been downgraded, folks. It was just they were showing you a PC build. So what they eventually did, they being gaming media, is they decided to go ahead and say, okay, Sony keeps saying that 1080p is going to look so much better than 720p. So I can't remember, I said this during the podcast of Randall Thor. IGN set a picture up between the 720p Call of Duty Ghosts, which was trash. Call of Duty Ghosts was garbage. It was trash, okay? Wasn't a good game. They set a picture of a 720p picture next to a 1080p picture. That's what happened. That's when everything started, but Witcher 3 opened up the door. That's just a fact. Also, Witcher 3 was delayed for 3 months. Why? Because Microsoft's initial build of The Witcher is 720p. They were able to get their devs out, and they sent their devs to CD Projekt Red and helped them get past the ESRAM thing on the Xbox. They got the game to 900p. Then they patched it to 1080p dynamic. That's the truth. There's your power narrative in a nutshell. So you had Sony saying that 1080p was going to be a huge difference, and you had the media that didn't believe them. So they sent them a picture. They sent the picture to IGN. They said, "Here's the Xbox One version of Call of Duty Ghosts. Here's our version of it." You could see the difference. I mean, I'm keeping it 100% with everybody. This is no fanboy BS here. You could see the difference between the 720p picture and the 1080p picture. Now, all the other stuff Sony said about 1080p making you a better gamer, that's garbage. I mean, that's just media talk, okay? That's them talking. So, and what else were they supposed to say? It's not like they launched with a ton of games. But look, Call of Duty Ghosts was garbage. I mean, it was trash. I mean, this is, So, but that's what happened as far as it being opened up. And then you had the fanboys just run with it. I mean, you did. You had guys like, Pyro and all those cats. They just picked up the narrative. And it was, All these fuckboys did that shit. So, and then look, if the Xbox community had just said, you know what? Yeah, the PlayStation is a little more powerful. Some of the games do look better, may run a little bit better, but I'm still going to support my brand. But they didn't do that. They got themselves into arguments. They got themselves into debate. And every debate these Xbox guys got into, they got slaughtered. I mean, the ones that I listened to, all of them. None of them did well, whether it was, and if you go back to the old debates, go back to the ones with Black Ballbuster Critic. He was slaughtering Xbox people. He did like 4 debates in a row, just destroy people. I mean, humiliated them. And all these cats had to do was say, I don't care. I'm just going to back the brand. I'm going to, you know, and they didn't want to do it for whatever reason. For whatever reason, those cats didn't. Again, most of the Xbox guys that I knew, but my boy William, we've been playing online since, I mean, we had 19 and 20-inch screen TVs in our bedrooms, you know, playing our video games. William didn't give 2 shits about what Sony was doing. You know, he played on his Xbox. I mean, it didn't matter. He had been in the Xbox community since the OG Xbox. He liked Halo. That's where he went. He liked Gears, and that was the console you needed to have to play. You couldn't play Halo or Gears on the PlayStation, and you still can't. You still can't. So he's fine. He's happy. I mean, but that's where the door crept open. And people got to understand that because that door got pushed open a little bit, a lot of bullshit came out, you know, of it. So that's just what it is. I mean, that's all I can really tell you. I mean, to me, yeah, I had a 1080p TV and I wanted the games that I bought to be in 1080p, period. I mean, and that's just the way it is. You know, when I had a 720p Samsung TV, I wanted to see what the games looked like, and it did look different because I had a 46 TV, then I went to 720p, then I went to 1080p. Now I'm at 4K. You know, it's just the reality of the situation. So, but it's unfortunate that a bunch of people got swept up in that, and this is why I said months ago, these Xbox clowns, they need to just quit with the power narrative because Sony is going to make another system. And again, a friend of mine that works at Samsung was telling me this. He said they're going to make a system, and all they have to really decide is if they're going to make a system that's going to have a separate CPU or a APU. Now, a lot of these engines, especially that Frostbite engine, it is heavily dependent on the CPU. So is the Unity engine. So all these engines are the developers are swinging back towards their CPUs. So, and that's just a reality of the situation. So we just have to wait and see what it's going to be. That's just, again, so Mark saying he buys all his games on Amazon. Yeah, you can save money like that. So, but I like the rush still of jumping into the car, walking up to the store. Again, I'm in walking distance of GameStop. I can walk there in 20 minutes, walk back home in 20 minutes. I still like that feeling of walking into the store, getting the feel of the plastic on my hand. I mean, that's just the way I was brought up. Okay. And getting the game home, part of that anticipation and things like that. With Amazon, I don't know when the damn shit's coming. Like my motherboard, it took that 2.5, almost 3 weeks to get to me for my PC. So, and you know, if there was a store that sold it, I could just went there and bought it. You know what I'm saying? So that's just the reality of the situation. So, but I agree, it is way too early to be talking about the PS5, but it was way too early to talk about the Scorpio. So it works, and that's why I said you got a bunch of guys now who now have a narrative of industry people saying, yeah, the PS5 is going to be more powerful. And that's just the reality of the situation. It's not going to just be more powerful. It's going to, you got to really understand, they may shoot, what if they go ahead and they shoot for 1080p 60 with high settings, 1440p 60 with high settings, 4K 30 with high to ultra settings? What if they built a console that was capable of doing that? And what you cats have got to realize, especially you Xbox guys, is that the advantage Sony has over Microsoft is that Sony has way more first-party studios to push these games. Period. They don't have to rely on third-party developers to push it for them. That's the issue that Microsoft's having right now. That's just the reality of the situation, okay? They don't have the studios to show. I mean, again, that's why I said, and it's shout out to Randall Thor. This is what I said to him. For $500 for you not to show any exclusive games that people had to buy to have that console, that was bullshit. From, you know, that's just my opinion, though. And for somebody else, if it was enough, I got no problem with it. So, you know, I got no problem with it. So, so Widowmaker saying all you have is speculation, then it's, yeah, it is speculatory based on the way Sony makes its consoles. They're going to make a generational leap. But then again, who knows? They may not have to. Like somebody told me the other day, Sony could, in theory, get a 3.0 CPU and then get a 6.5 teraflop system and do all games 4K 60 native. I'm talking about first party. First party would shoot for that. This is where Sony has an advantage. Then they could have all their Japanese developers make everything go for 1080p 60. Not that the Japanese developers would do that, but they could say to them, hey, make all your games 1080p 60, and then on your TV it's going to upscale to 4K anyway, and that's the advantage Sony has. Also, Michael Packner is right when he talks about where the 4K television sales adoption rate will be in another 30 months. It'll be roughly between 35 and 41%. So Sony hits the market with their console, hits the market with their console right when everybody's starting to adopt 4K TVs. I mean, they at least will be at 4 out of 10 people, okay? And that's actually a pretty good adoption rate. So 40% of the market is still not majority, but it's enough to start driving narratives at that point. So it is what it is. So, power with no good games is pointless. I agree. Well, see, the point here, Sharon Moore, is that your statement is that good games is subjective. All right, good games is subjective. So the fact is that Sony has more games. All right, and that, like I said before in a podcast, like I said, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs had a giant argument. And a lot of people, I guess, just don't know this. Steve Jobs told Bill Gates, he threw his fist down and he said, you know, God damn it, Bill, I don't give a shit what Microsoft does. Apple stuff is better. And you can make the argument to this day that Apple's quality trumps what Microsoft has. And you can make the argument. That's what all the Apple people say. Like, oh no, Apple's quality is much better. It doesn't, our computers don't get viruses. I mean, they talk about their quality. But see, Bill Gates turned around and said, that doesn't matter, Steve. Microsoft has more, has more. Microsoft had way more PCs on market than Apple had of their Mac. That's a reality. And because the PCs were being adopted faster because they were cheaper, Mac got pushed to the point where you almost, if you see somebody with a Mac, you know they got a shit ton of money because Mac is sold to a certain demographic of people. Okay, so let's apply this to Microsoft and Sony now. Apply it to what the fanboys are saying. The Xbox fanboys are saying we have the most powerful console. Okay, they do. But that doesn't matter. Sony has more consoles on market and they will still drive the market. Do you see what I'm saying? That's kind of where everything is starting to go left. Also, let's just keep it 100 here. That Xbox X is not what they were pushing. The entire narrative has been there. Every game is going to be 4K 60. That's the truth. That is the 100% truth. I had Xbox guys on my podcast saying, how are they going to get games from 1080p up to 2160p? And all they said was power. And the power was because they were going to checkerboard it up to that point, which I don't have a problem with. It was just trying to get them to admit it. And now that Microsoft has come out and wholeheartedly, full throat said, yep, checkerboard. that is now turned into, well, only 2 games are checkerboarded. You're right, because the rest of them are dynamic. I mean, look, they got some 4K native games too. You know, Forza's 4K native. That's been confirmed. We don't know about Ori and the Blind Forest. I mean, it may be 4K native. I'm not saying that it's not. So, but nothing's been confirmed. So you got a bunch of cats speculating, saying, well, the games are going to look and run better on the Xbox X. And again, based on what? Bungie with Destiny 2 calls bullshit on you. They're not. The games are going to be identical. That's according to Bungie. Okay. Ubisoft is called bullshit. Assassin's Creed Origins is going to be, quote, indiscernible, end quote. That's from the developer. So that's why these cats are now they're chasing their ass. And you know, they look, and again, if they can come in on the podcast at any point they want to and explain it. They can explain it and don't be damage controlling. Instead of saying, hey, look, Destiny 2 is coming out, everybody get excited. It was 2 weeks of damage control. And somehow Sony, who the same fanboys have said was broke, is now paying off Bungie to go ahead and make the game 30 FPS. Nah, you were wrong. And instead of you just manning up and saying, hey, look, I misspoke, I got to keep it 100 with you all, they won't do it. So now they've been dubbed Jack Reacher. Okay, that's what happened to them. Okay, and shout out to all the people. Like, and again, you had cats who are connected to Xbox, or not connected, but know people at Xbox, like Randall Thor, doing podcast after podcast saying it's not going to work like that. That's the truth. All right, but somehow that got overlooked because they were so desperate. Again, like Hard 8, shout out to Hard 8 Times. They did not give 2 shits about the games. They were worried about bragging rights. Well, guess what? Now another console is coming out from Sony, and at the least, it's going to be a little bit more powerful. They're not going to sit around and not have a more powerful CPU because of the bottleneck issues that both the Pro and the Xbox X are having. That's a reality, folks. You know, that's the reality. So, and it is unfortunate that they're done. I mean, what else can they say? All right, it was, you know, Sony will never have the power narrative again. Well, guess what? They just took it back, well, about 3 days ago when all that shit got confirmed that they were going to build a PS5. So all the stuff the analysts are saying when it's going to come out, that's speculatory, okay? Have I played real-time strategy games? Yeah, I'm playing one now, Dark 211, called Sid Meier's Civilization, except we're out in space. I would assume, and XCOM. XCOM, I guess, is that real-time strat? Well, that would be considered turn-based. So, but I'm excited about the new XCOM. See, these Xbox guys are not talking about that shit, so they're just not doing it. So I'm excited about XCOM. So Mark is saying, of course, the PS5 is going to be more powerful. Yeah, it will be. It's just a matter of how much more powerful. I mean, like I said, they could have a more powerful CPU and then do 6.6 T-flops. That's more powerful. That, I think my friend that works at Samsung, he said that if they did that, that would be like 37% more powerful because of the way computers calculate. Now, it's like, I mean, 37% isn't that much more powerful, but it's still more powerful. And that's why I've said to people before, the differences would be that Sony could go to a Naughty Dog or Guerrilla Games, Sony Bend, their first-party studios, and say, here you go. You all need to start building to these specs. And they may or may not do it, their first-party studio, so they probably will. Microsoft doesn't have as many first-party studios, so they are dependent on third-party developers to give them first-party treatment. Again, that's what Xbox had last generation. Third-party developers built their games on their system. They ran a lot better, and some of them looked better. That's a reality, folks. And so that's what Microsoft wants, and that's what their fanboys think is going to happen. That's the reality. Even though they can't show you any proof, except for one game that's going to have 4K assets. It's been reported. That's been reported. More than likely, Gears of War 4, when they get done with that, that will deploy 4K assets. But again, that's a first-party game, and it should deploy the 4K assets. Where are the third-party games that were supposed to be doing this in favor of the Xbox over the Pro? This is where they're stuck. And this is where if they come onto this podcast, I will unleash the God Killer sword on them. You know, and that's why, guess what? They have not come back onto the podcast. They haven't. And they're not going to, because they got no answers, folks. No answer. I will ask them one question, and they can't answer it. That's why I said, what happened? What happened? Okay, because all I'm seeing is dynamic and checkerboarding, dynamic, and which I don't care that it's dynamic and checkerboarded. I don't care. Okay, it is, you are the ones who made a big deal about 4K native, not me. I already understood what 4K was. They didn't. It's a shame that Xbox had to outright wordsmith what 4K Ultra is to them, what true 4K is. I'm sorry. So, you know, but I do play real-time strategy games. Destiny 2, no improvements on Xbox. Yeah, none whatsoever. Now, let me make this clear. That doesn't mean they won't come back in a year or two from now and make improvements to it. But as of right now, as I talk to you, those guys have given them the middle finger. And I don't like the fact that there's no HDR component on Destiny. I don't like it, you know, but that's not what they're shooting for. They're shooting for the actual play online. That's what that game is geared for. It does have a story mode. Again, I'm excited for the story mode, all right? I think playing games online, you know, like me and Rand were talking about the other day, the console guys, it didn't matter if they played on Xbox or they played on PS4, the console guys, they played that game on the PC and they said they never played it on console again. Never. So I'm telling you guys now, if you want to play games at 60 FPS and higher, you need to just build a PC for about $400 and then you'll be fine. So yeah, like Bear Hugger said, there's a lot of people. Yeah, Dark 11. Yeah, 1080p, 1440p, 60 FPS, ultra settings for PS5 instead of 4K 30. Well, here's the thing with that. I would love that, but since Sony makes 4K televisions, they will have their system hit that 4K. But I would love a mode, especially from the first-party guys. Let me make this clear. The first-party studios that have 1080p, 1440p. That's, I mean, what if they did 1080p 30 with ultra settings? I mean, are you not going to buy that game? Are you kidding me? I'm just saying, if you're making a big deal about 4K textures, you know, that's what it is. Yeah, and I agree with Bear. I'd rather have good games instead of focusing on garbage resolution or trying to get 60. Yeah, and I understand why people want 60, especially on like a fighting game or a simulator, you know, or a jet simulator or something like that. But a majority of people playing games online, they're playing real-time strategy and they're playing, you know, they're playing MMOs and stuff like that. So it does not have to be at 60. You don't have to play World of Warcraft at 60 FPS and not enjoy the game. So yeah, Apple got, look, Dark 11, they both got a shit ton of money. So yeah, Apple $700 billion. That's because Apple makes a new phone every freaking year. So, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, and so who was right about that? Was Steve Jobs, God rest his soul, was he wrong to say that their stuff wasn't better? Technically, they got $700 billion, so you can make the argument that it is better. We got more money. But Microsoft, again, they dominate the PC market like nobody's business, so they can control the price. So that's ultimately whoever controls the price of the market controls the market. That's just the reality. So yeah, ever since the Xbox S was coming, nobody is saying, yeah, but I guess that means Beast is coming. Yeah, because it wasn't. And let me tell you, Cheats the Freak, the reason why is because it's not what they thought it was going to be. That's a reality. They didn't get the console that they thought they were going to get, and they're disappointed in it. They're still going to go out and buy it. I'm not here to say that it's going to be garbage. I'm saying that considering they're charging $500 and they showed not one game that you can't go get on PC and or on the other console, that was trash to charge me $500 for a console that does checkerboard rendering, that does data 4K, that does dynamic. The Pro already does those things. It already does those things. So I want that. I can go buy that now. And I have access to more games. I'm not going to say better games, more games. So now we know the Xbox. Well, no, see, what you call it is Forza 7 is 4K native 60 with 4K texture. That's going to be the best looking game, arguably ever, arguably. Okay, but I'm going to repeat something Warrior said. Do you really think a first-party Sony game is going to look worse than a third-party game for Microsoft? But again, Forza 7 should look great. It's a first-party game. I mean, I got no issue with that. Their first-party games should take advantage of the software that Microsoft is providing. The issue is that the third-party developers, they don't have to do it. That's what was so funny about what Destiny came out and did. And the 2 weeks of damage control was priceless. It was fucking priceless. So I mean, that's it. It was, well, they didn't announce the Scorpio build. They didn't announce that yet. Well, guess what? They said 30 on all consoles. That includes the Scorpio build. They kept holding on and holding on and holding on. And then finally, Bungie had to cut the cord and say, nope, we're not doing it. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. But as far as the power narrative, and that was more the fanboy stuff and things like that, because I was always wondering why the hell the games are 1080p on the Sony system and they 900p on the Xbox. I'm like, why are they not taking full advantage of the TV at 1080p? It turned out because they couldn't. They couldn't. They got the games at 900, and that was it. What happened is you had podcasts that made that the new normal for the Xbox guys. So, Microsoft had more. Well, see, I think there's going to be a lot of PC games that are going to come to the Xbox X. So, I mean, I think that will happen as time goes on. And it's not like there aren't any games coming out for the Xbox X. It's just that, fuck, I mean, you can go buy those games on another console and spend $100 less and get 2 games. You know, it's just, it made no sense. So, yeah, don't be a Jack Reacher, the worst kind of preacher. Yeah, you're right there, keeping it real. That's great. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm all for speculating as long as you say, hey, look, I'm speculating here. That's all people they got to caveat it and say, look, I'm speculating. You know, so, yeah, like I speculated that the PlayStation 5, based on what Sony has done in the past, will be a 3.0 CPU and at minimum, 8 to 10 T-flops. That's what I think it's going to be. That's me speculating. Okay, but I'm telling you I'm speculating. I'm not going to do podcasts that says that constantly talk about that. Okay, that's stupid on my part. That makes me Jack Reacher. Because what if it comes out and it's a 2.9 CPU and it's only 6.3 T-flops? I mean, you see what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's still more powerful than the Xbox X, but it's not as powerful as I was speculating, and I look stupid. So, yeah, that's been my whole point, So, yeah, I agree, Bear. Having their games on PC as well. Yeah, I don't have a problem with what Microsoft did. The fanboys of Microsoft went, and this happened, that was last March or April when all those podcasts were happening, when they were damage controlling that. And at that point, I agree with Savage Uger when he said I agree with Savage Uger when he said that that was the end of the console war. Okay, when Microsoft put everything on PC, well, 95% of their thing on PC, that was it. It was over. They were done competing because they were just going to say, okay, we're going to be on the we're going to be doing this, and that's just it is. So Obadiah Johnson, he wants 60 FPS on everything. Well, bro, that's why you should get a PC. Okay, I get that. Yeah, Nintendo seems to get it. Their focus is on 60. Yeah, they do frames per second over graphics. I agree with you on that. So, yeah, the Xbox. Look, if Xbox X had they announced at the press conference that they were going to do it for Forza game with Hot Wheels, 60 FPS, 4K textures, all that stuff. Had they announced that, then I would have probably bought one too, and I could build my own track. Yeah, I would have bought one. I would have bought that game for it, and I would have been happy with it because that's what I would have been buying it for. Now, we're going to get probably a Forza Hot Wheels game that's going to be 4K with the 4K textures and the assets and all that stuff, but it will be 30 FPS. You know, so that's just the reality of our situation, guys. You know, it's unfortunate that a lot of them look stupid now, but they do. So what else here? So yeah, that's true. That's that. Now, Widowmaker said that's not all to the power narrative. So then what else is there? Okay, what else is there? So I mean, I'm serious, bro. I mean, what else is there? You know, the games looked better on the PlayStation 4. Not, I mean, you know, you can make the argument not that much better, but they look better. So, and it's this whole thing. Well, Digital Foundry is the reason why this happened. No, Digital Foundry has always done tech comparisons. And again, if you're going to complain about them, where's your righteous indignation when they compare the i5 to the i7? Whatever the latest i5 build was, the third generation of it, to the new i7, they were like, was it that much difference in the third gen versus the first gen? And honestly, there's not. There isn't. With that said, when they got to the second generation i7, I believe, there was a big difference in how that thing was processing. But that's the reality of our situation. So, but yeah, guys, like I said, and wrapping up here, Destiny 2 is going to have a major story on it. You know, I think everybody's happy about that. Star Wars Battlefront 2 did get an enhanced mode announced for the Xbox. What they're enhancing, we have to wait and see. I know what they're enhancing, but there should be an announcement possibly Saturday, possibly when they do the D23 gaming thing. And that's not the only game that'll be there. They'll have Kingdom Hearts 3 there as well. So maybe another re-release of Epic Mickey's is what I've heard, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, that is me speculating. So Epic Mickey possibly coming out as a remaster, possibly, but we'll have to wait and see. So, and PS4 update, the 4.72 update really doesn't do a heck of a whole lot. It sounds like it's being built to house something else, and we're just going to have to wait and see. So if there are no more questions or comments, yeah, I agree, Bear. Back in the day, resolution FPS didn't matter. So again, but we got to understand though, Bear, that the Xbox community convinced themselves that the reason why the Xbox got outsold was because the games looked better and they ran better on the PlayStation. That's it. That's what they think. They don't care about the price at launch. They don't care about the ecosystem. They dismiss that. They say, nah, it was only because of this narrative. So, and the sad thing is that they now have lost that narrative, because anybody who thinks the PS5 isn't going to be more powerful than the other console that's mid-generation, according to Microsoft, the Xbox X is a mid-gen system. So Sony already has a mid-gen system out. It's just Microsoft built a more powerful mid-gen system. It just is. So pay to win and Star. Again, I agree, keeping it real, but I'm buying it for the story, because the story is now canonized. And as a Star Wars fan, I want to play that story to see what happened between Return of the Jedi and the Battle of Jakku at the, you know, we see that Star Destroyer at the beginning of The Force Awakens. Now, I know what you're going to say. You can watch The Last Jedi, but that's happening after The Force Awakens. So we're going to see what happened, because once the second Death Star got destroyed in Return of the Jedi, the Imperial fleet was still out there. Okay, they were still out there because they became the First Order. So it's just, we're going to see what happens next. So Cycle Gamer, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. If the new Xbox doesn't sell well, there ain't going to be another Xbox. Tell you that right now. There are no plans for another Xbox. So, you know, a year later, again, they had to recuperate 62% of what they put into the other Xbox, the Xbox One X, before they even think about getting their shareholders to agree to another system. So that's what we have to wait and see. So now Microsoft may announce at the end of the year, hey, we're going to do another Xbox as well, you know. So, but as of right now, my understanding of it, this is me keeping it 100% with you. I'm not fanboying here. If this system doesn't sell well, and it has till the end of time to sell well, but if it doesn't hit their projections, especially their first 18-month projections, they're not going to make another Xbox. Again, there's nothing wrong with the Xbox that's coming out. It does UHD movies, it does 4K streaming, it does 4K native gaming, but there's nothing left. They can just put 4K textures in. So at this point, you're at diminished return. So the only thing they can improve upon is making their games at 60 FPS. And do you really think they're going to build a whole new system to make their first party games? You know, they don't have enough. That's what you got to ask yourself, Cycles. Do you feel Microsoft has enough first party games to delineate another console? Because I don't think they do. I mean, I'm serious. I don't think they do. So, but that's my opinion. I mean, I know they got the Forza game, Forza Horizon. That is at 30 FPS, but what else do they make first party this 30 FPS? That's sell. Whereas at Sony has a shit ton of first party studios, and they have and Sony Japan that does make first party line games that are at 30 FPS that they could get to 60. So, and that's all I'm saying, bro. You know, so that's not me fanboying out. You're reaching a point where why are they going to buy the console when they can just get a PC? So, you know, so yeah, Phil Spencer. Yeah, I know that he said that. Yeah, I know. Here's the difference is that Phil Spencer is a liar. He's lied about stuff. But nah, I shouldn't say that. I know Phil Spencer said that. We just have to wait and see. I mean, me personally, I'm just deducing that they do not have they do not have enough first party studios to do that. I mean, they've got Turn 10. They got the 2 Forza games. They got the Gears game. That's 3 first party games. They have, and what else do they have? They have the people who make Ori and the Blind Forest. All right. So let's just say they want to make that game 60 FPS. And I don't know what it is. So let's just say they want Ori to be 4K native 60. That's 4 games. Do you really think those 4 games are enough to push another console? And then, all right, they'll have Halo. That'll be 5. So they'll have 5 games. So let's give them 5 games. All right. What else do they have in the pipeline and we may see some more first party games. Phil Spencer said they got more first party games coming out, but it just won't be ready for 2 to 3 years. So I'll check in 2 to 3 years, Holmes. I mean, I'm not saying that to be, I will look at the Xbox X in 2 to 3 years when they have more first party IP, because that's what Phil Spencer said. So you got to look at it like that, Cycle. Okay, let's just say on the low, it takes them 2 years, so it won't come out to 2019. These are the games for the Xbox One X, okay? So since these are the games for the Xbox One X, what I mean, are they going to say, oh, okay, these games are about to hit for the Xbox One X, here comes Xbox One X2? No, they're not going to do that. So they're going to wait and see how Xbox One X does, especially that first 18 months, because that's the most pivotal time for anything new to come out. And if it doesn't do the numbers they anticipate, they done doing it. They'll just say, you know what, we'll support the games we got. People will still go ahead and make games for Xbox. Okay, it's just that, you know, they're not gonna have a lot of first party games. So yeah, the campaign of Battlefront 2 is going to be a movie. Yeah, that's why I'm looking forward to it. So Battlefront 2 pay to win. I believe that's having to do with you can go ahead and buy a bunch of stuff online. So if you're going to be online playing, this is why I'm not going to play it online, you know. But if you're going to be online playing it, somebody may go ahead and buy that. They may buy the game, then they may go ahead and spend an extra $200 on loot crates to up their character. So and then put that character in a team death match, and they'll have a big advantage over everybody else. They're not going to delineate between who's got what. So just unfortunately, so Microsoft lost lots of money on their consoles. Well, but they made up for it with the that's why they got so many services. Okay, Dark 211. That's why they got so many servers. That's why there's Xbox Live. That's why there's, you know, the Games Pass. That's why there's Games for Go. All those are services that you have to pay extra for to make up for the loss. Yeah, you're right. They do lose money when they sell a console, but I think the Xbox X, I want to say they make about at the end of the day, they're going to make about $4 to $6 off that console per sale. So, I mean, which ain't bad. So, all right, we're talking about half a decade from now. Well, we'll have to wait and see then. I mean, I'm serious though. I think a lot of these cats that are on console in half a decade, they'll be on PC because they'll have access to all the Xbox games. And look, Sony is going to start bringing more of their library over to stream. They're going to do it. So because there's more people streaming now, the internet's getting better. They're preparing themselves to be service-based through Windows 10. Yeah, they are. I agree with that. Yeah, I talked about that earlier. Yeah. I don't disagree with you at all on that. And Rich, again, shout out to Rich from Review Tech. He did a good video on this, I think, last week. You know, how he was streaming, like I said, Final Fight or something like that, and it was in 720p, and it looked just like the video game I remember playing in the arcade. So, you know, and it was no lag on it, or he said it had very little lag. So, can I still unlock everything in Battlefront 2 without paying? I believe so. It's just I believe what you can do is I didn't really look at it because I just looked more at the enhanced mode for Xbox. I believe what you're going to be able to do is as you play, you will gather up force points or whatever they want to call it. Then you will be able to go to their in-house store and spend those points to get different characters and things like that. Let's just say it takes you a month to go ahead and get 2 things. Well, somebody else may say, well, hell, I'm just going to drop some coin and get this gun or get this mod for my gun to make it 15 to 30% more powerful. And then you're playing that guy in team deathmatch and he shoots you one time and you're down. So, you know, it's unfortunate. So, Sony will always make dedicated yeah, so far Sony is dedicated to the way things have always been. So, and again, they're not stupid. They know familiarity breeds loyalty. So, and look, I'm not saying people should not go out and get an Xbox X. I am not saying that at all. So, I am simply saying that for what I saw for $500, like I told Randall Thor the other day, that's a not no, but hell no. That's for me. That's only for me. Not only me in the galaxy. If you saw enough for you to say, okay, I've got an Xbox One S, I'm going to trade it in and get this Xbox X. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But a lot of people are not going to do that. Just so you know. All right. And I'm going to gather most people will just keep their Xbox One S and wait for the Xbox X to come down in price, because that's going to happen before anything else happens. That'll happen before we talk about those games another year or two out for the Xbox X. You may be able to go get the console and 2 new games for, you know, $480. I'm just putting a number out there. What if you would do that? What if you waited 1 year? It was $399 when you bought it. So when you bought it at $399, you could go ahead and get 2 games and pick your games, or in the Blind Forest and shit, I don't know. Just pick a game, Cold Vein. All right, so you're still getting your Xbox X. You're just waiting 1 year. Look at all the people. Shout out to J-Dub. Like he said, he bought the Xbox One day of week. Okay, day of week he bought one, and within 3 to 4 months, the price had come down $50 to $100. Okay, so there's a chance that could happen with this. And I think a lot of people who are already in the Xbox ecosystem are going to wait. I'm in the Xbox ecosystem, and I'm going to wait. So, so Microsoft and Sony won't get out of console business and try. I don't know. Microsoft, maybe. Sony, no. No. Sony has to make another console because a lot of their money is being made off of the console. Now, they made a shit ton of money from Spider-Man, too. Let me make that clear. Spider-Man, the movie that just came out, it's going to hit probably a $200 million by next week. Well, it may hit $200 million. It may be about $170 million by the 14th, because the Planet of the Apes comes out on the 14th. So, you know, we'll just have to wait and see how that works out. So, yeah, Sony is dominating the console business. They're not going to get out. I agree with that. So yeah, they're not going nowhere. So, but like I said, guys, I mean, if you want a Black Panther update, you can go to comicbookcast2.com, and he got a real good, you know, update on Black Panther. So you all should go check that shit out. So it's just you're gonna start seeing more people do anytime Black Panther information comes out, you're gonna see us dump a lot of information on you guys. Now I'll be doing it on the Porch Light podcast, not on this one, but I just wanted people to know who buy Entertainment Weekly. There's a special edition. I think it's out now. May have came out today, but they have a Comic-Con edition for Black Panther. I'm gonna go buy it on Friday. I know that. I'm gonna be doing well Saturday. Yeah, I'll be doing a lot of stuff on Saturday. So getting what info from? Somebody wants to get out of the console business. Oh, it's just they're going to go to more streaming cycle gamers. So the streaming is getting better, and so a lot of gamers are starting to stream their games. So and download them. And again, GameStop, you can just look at GameStop. They're losing money. Okay, they're losing money, and yes, they've diversified a little bit. They brought in AT&T. You can buy phones at their store, stuff like that. And also, I think with GameStop, before it goes away, they're going to go ahead and start selling PC games again. See, the difference in when GameStop bought out EB Games used to have a little bit of everything in there. GameStop concentrated on consoles. So, and their store just isn't big enough because Switch, they need more space for Switch, you know. So, and once Switch hits, and they're going to have a Mario game out this year. So at the end of the year. So it's just a matter of Switch getting its Switch has to go ahead and get more consoles in store. But yeah, I don't as far as them getting out of consoles, I don't think they'll get all the way out, but I do think they want to go ahead and start cutting out brick and mortar stores, you know, because they can keep all the money. And I agree with you. You want to talk about them making profit, they can make more money if they cut GameStop out of the way. They just can. So, but that it is what it is. I don't think there's been any more questions or comments. Yeah, Phil's boss is more into services and Xbox console. Yeah, Obidi John's right. He's 100% right. And he has said that Sadiel Natal, whatever his name is, he has said that he sees Xbox becoming a service. So, and he means that. And I said before, it wouldn't shock me if one day you woke up and Xbox Live was available on the Sony system. Don't be too shocked that don't happen one day, folks. So even if it's just for a limited amount of games, Xbox could do that. They could say, we'll stream our games to Sony. But, I mean, because Sony's already streaming to PC. So, which isn't, and people said, I mean, that was another, and that's why I've said to people before, they are in the depth of their argument when they were saying, well, Microsoft owns the PC market. That was bullshit personified. Nobody owns the PC market. Microsoft makes applications that are on PC. That's all they do. They don't own the PC market. So, like I said, you can have Linux, you can use Safari, which was Apple. They don't own it. They just they make the applications that are the most dominant. So it feels like they're owning it. They're making a shit ton of money, but Apple makes most of its money based on what? It's hardware. That's what Apple's always been about. Remember what Steve Jobs told Bill Gates. So, you know, that's what they've always been about. So today I'm playing stream games. I agree, Obita John, but a lot more people are starting to do that. Those numbers are picking up, and eventually they will become the norm of the market. Guys like me and you are getting pushed out. That's why I'm going to PC. You might as well just go ahead and get a PC. So, you know, do y'all think PS Now is or is going to become? Yeah, Cycle, I said that. Yeah. You know, yeah, I agree. PS Now is their entry level way into the PC market. So that's exactly what it is. So what's going on, Trey BK? So Sony owns the console market right now. Well, I mean, again, they own it in a sense that it's a physical property. So they do own the console market. You got to understand, Microsoft doesn't own any PC. You can't go out and buy a Microsoft PC, Cycle Gamer. They don't physically make PCs. I mean, Hewlett Packard does, Acer does, you know, all these, you know, Alienware. They physically make a computer for you. So there is no Microsoft PC I can go buy. I can go buy PCs with Microsoft applications in them. That's different, okay? Whereas the Xbox is made by Microsoft, and that is a hard that's a hard property. That's a hard IP. So PS Now is garbage. I mean, I'm not here to say it's good or bad. It's their entry level way in to the marketplace of PC. So Microsoft is a software company. I agree. You're right. Look, I was around when Microsoft, when they made MS-DOS. I was there. I was physically a human being when they made MS-DOS. I remember turning on the computer and nothing would come on except a blinking light. You would have to plug the disk in, the MS-DOS disk in, okay? Once you plug the MS-DOS disk in, that would prompt you to do different things. So, so yeah, I agree. So, and Microsoft sold DOS to Tandy, and that's why Microsoft is where they are now. Okay, that's why they are now. So that's a big reason. There's other reasons too, but Microsoft used to make phones. They don't make phones anymore. It's trash. I agree with that. So they don't make phones, and they don't make PCs. So now PC is an open market. So I was about to jump on out of here, Bear. Honestly, I'm going to walk down to the store. So if anybody's got any more questions or doesn't have any questions, yeah, Bear, we'll get on in here for a little bit. Why the hell not? I can walk down to the store at any time. So let me, I'll send you an invite. Let's see here. There we go. Oh, go to the store? Okay. Well, I will then, Dad. Yeah, I've been here for about an hour. So, yeah, and I got up early to do this one. So, but off here, like I said, the Star Wars Battlefront 2 Enhanced for the Xbox X is confirmed. It'll be out. I don't know when. I don't know if it'll be a day one patch. As far, I guess I don't know if they'll patch it day one as soon as the game comes out. If it'll be afterwards, and it's enhanced, so we don't know what it's going to be. Oh, actually, I know. I got one dislike on this already, man. Somebody's a dweeb. So yeah, that's cool. So yeah. But that's about it. And then Destiny 2 is going to have a big game as far as the. So here's what I'm excited about. Destiny 2 and Star Wars Battlefront 2, they both got the message from their fan base. They made a campaign. Everybody needs to be happy. That's all I can say. Everybody needs to be happy. I'm buying Star Wars Battlefront 2 day one. That will be a day one game. Yes, I know it's EA, but I'm going to buy that game. I don't trust EA, but I trust I trust the young lady, Miss Gavanker, who's going around talking about the game. So, and hopefully you all check her out on Collider videos, because she went ahead and she did a 1 hour Jedi Council with Collider videos. Mark Ellis, Christian Harloff, they asked her questions and she was talking about the game. So you all can find out a lot more stuff. This is what I be telling you all, man. You got to diversify, because the gaming industry Star Wars was a movie before it was a game. It was a movie before it was a game. So in order to get really good information, you can go to the movie sector and get it, okay? Because they're doing the research for you. Check out Star Wars Theory. Okay, Star Wars Theory actually went to EA Play and played Star Wars Battlefront 2. Okay? And they gave a legitimate review of it, not that bullshit that Andromeda Nerds did. So, but shout out to Andromeda Nerds, but that podcast is over. That was a Mass Effect Andromeda-based podcast. And because everybody pissed all over Andromeda, which, I mean, again, it had good parts. It had its moments, but overall trash. But it had its moments, all right? But overall wasn't good. So there will never be streaming game future. Well, I can just tell you right now. What do you think? Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you're right. I'm not here to say that it's not like it's going to happen tomorrow, Obi to John. It's just going to happen. It's happening now. Just like there were guys like me when I first saw an MP3. I said, that's the stupidest thing I've seen in my life. I did. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to keep it 100% with you. But when the guy said that he could put 150 to 200 songs on it, I'm like, oh, okay. That's, I mean, and then MP4 came out, and MP4 had better sound. It had more space for memory, but it didn't sell. So, but MP3 did sell. The MP3 ultimately led to and guess where we are now? Everybody downloads music. Everybody downloads music. Anytime guys like Dr. Dre and Metallica and, Moby. I mean, big stars tried to sue to stop all this stuff. They weren't able to stop them. They were not able to stop them. So now you got guys releasing. Look, I had somebody ask me the other day on direct message, how come my podcasts aren't on SoundCloud? I'm keeping it a SoundCloud. Literally, somebody asked me that. I had no idea I would be even thinking about SoundCloud. I mean, I have no idea how it works, but the fact that somebody said, yeah, you need to put your podcast on SoundCloud. That way, if they're driving somewhere or they're working out, they can listen to the podcast. Now, it was a compliment, but I'm like, damn, I guess I really need to step up into that, So, so, but my point to you, Obi John, is that if people are asking that, of SoundCloud or iTunes, whatever you use, what else they're consuming their media a lot different. Yeah, there's cats that listen to podcasts on their phone, or they may just sit right down in front of their PC and do it. But a lot of those guys, and that's the way I do mine. But a lot of people aren't doing that anymore. You know, there may be somebody who later on today goes to the gym and works out and they listen to this podcast, or they listen to it while they're on their job. You know, so I mean, it's just kind of the way technology is moving right now. So Sony needs to merge PS Now with PlayStation Home and add activity. They might. If more people get on PlayStation Now, they may end up doing that. But they got to improve PlayStation Now. I tried PlayStation Now because Assassin's Creed was on there, the one where you were the Irish guy. I can't think of the name of it. But it was actually better than Assassin's Creed Unity. And Unity was the next gen thing. And people were still mad thinking that. And I still think Ubisoft should bring all the Assassin's Creed to this gen. All of them. So, yeah, data caps is a problem. I don't disagree with you. Yeah, it's an issue, but hopefully they're going to solve it eventually. Maybe by the time the next Xbox that Psycho Gamer was talking about comes out. But keeping it 100 with you, Psycho, if Microsoft doesn't do good numbers in the first 18 months and you start seeing them slash the price of the console, that there ain't going to be another Xbox. I mean, they're not going to fold the division. Okay, but they're going to just say, hey, you know what? We're not going to make another Xbox for a while. So, yeah, games don't approve. They was about to kill Phil Spencer for his own life. That was Don Matrick that did that, though. Remember when Phil Spencer took over, they crushed the always online stuff. But I don't disagree with your narrative overall, Obi John. But guys like me and you that consume our media physically and things like that, we getting pushed aside. We the old man in the bar. You know, we're not old, but we too old to be at that bar. You know what I'm saying? That's the old man in the bar story. So he's not old, but he's too old to be in the bar. You know, so, you know, it is what it is. That's why the old man in the bar gets there at 8 o'clock, leaves at 10 o'clock. Because at 10 o'clock, that's when all the young bucks come in. So, and the fact that he's got money to throw around is not going to supersede the fact that the ladies are going to always go ahead and go towards the young buck. It's just the way it is. But I'm going to get on up out of here, guys. If there's no more questions, I appreciate you joining me this morning. I'm going to hit up Porter Rock to see if he's going to do a 60 frames, no lag today. I'm not for sure if he is. So he did a Porto's Point, though. So you all go check that out. He had All Day stopped in there. He had another guy stop in there. So, again, go check out that podcast. You know, Porter Rock, keep it at 100. So, you know, I try to keep it 100 too. But, you know, it is what it is. So, good times. But, yeah, I'm going to hit him up. And if I am, I'll put that on Twitter. So, but if not, yeah, hit me up on Twitter, Craig Harris, 456. Let's see here. Yeah, PC Gamer is the one that did the Destiny story. Windows Central confirmed Star Wars Battlefront 2 enhancement. And Express UK is the PS4 update. So this, which is not very good, apparently. It's not doing a whole lot. So it is what it is. So I don't want to hear people saying, well, you need to bring on more Xbox guys. And that was the cool thing about Randall Thor, because I had people criticize me saying that I needed to have a more even-handed podcast. Well, bringing Randall Thor on, hopefully shut those people down too. I mean, again, you know, like I like that. Don't be a preacher and be Jack Reacher. So yeah, I like that. I do like that. So yeah. Won't accept it. Yeah, and I'm in that audience, Obi John. Yeah, certain audiences just won't accept streaming. I agree, but like I'm building my PC, and yeah, I would like to go to a brick and mortar store and buy what I need a little bit at a time. But because everything's online, I gotta buy everything off Amazon. So, and that sucks because I don't know how Amazon can take 9 to 14 days. And they don't include weekends. So if you order on Saturday, they don't get the order processed till Monday. You know, they put your money in an escrow, so they charge you. What's up, Wolfie? What's going on, Wolflo? They put your money in an escrow, but and But that's it. I mean, it sucks. I mean, like I said, my motherboard, it took it 2.5 weeks to get here, almost 3 weeks. You know, and I called Amazon a couple of times. So it sucked. And people were like, well, you should have went eBay and it would have gotten there faster. But Amazon's got a better return policy. Not that eBay's got a bad one, but I keep on getting afraid I'm going to get ripped off. So I got to put more money on that card, and I'm starting to save it for the power. Anybody wants to know what's going on with that, I've got the tower, I've got the motherboard. Shout out to J-Dub for the R9, Radeon R9 thing. So Jack Reacher tried to tell me PC has physical game. They used to back in the day. If he's talking about going way back in the time machine, they did. I still got some here. I still got, let me look here. I got X-Wing Alliance. I got X-Wing Alliance. I've got Falcon 4.0. I've got the flight simulator that the 9/11 hijackers use to practice with. So, I mean, I still have some physical PC games. So, there may be a couple of physical PC games. The third-party games that go to PC, they sometimes have a physical mode. So, but yeah, I don't disagree. There's not a whole lot anymore, and that's the advantage PC has, and they keep all that money. So, but it's again, that's just the way to consume the media. But that's going to be me in about another 6 months when I get this damn thing built. So, yeah, basically random boxes with the code. Yeah, I mean, that could be what it is. So all Fallouts on physical PC. Yeah, and I didn't like Fallout New Vegas. I know Bear Hugger loved Fallout New Vegas. I just couldn't get into it, especially after Fallout 3 I thought was a classic. I think Fallout 3 is one of the best games. So try to get random with Foxy. That's up to Fox. So, or maybe have them come here. Possibly. This logistically, that's hard because Fox is in the UK. And so they're like 5 or 6 hours ahead of us. So that podcast would have to start, I guess, roughly at 3 or 4 o'clock. So, but see, it's 9 o'clock over in the UK. So it wouldn't be a long podcast. But I may try that. Yeah, I may try that. So, but yeah, I'm glad that you all liked Rand Outdoor coming on. We have been talking, like he said, we've been talking about it for a while. Just logistically, we couldn't work it out. So, but I hope you all enjoyed that conversation. You all need to go check out his channel because, yes, he's an Xbox guy, but he is realistic about the Xbox brand versus Jack Reacher. You know, that's all I can say, man. And I don't mind having a Jack Reacher on my program, but they're going to answer what happened. And so far, they haven't come back on. So yeah. Yeah, the odd random game with a random box that needs special order doesn't count to you. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, again, my understanding about PC is that you just go to the website, you click a button, and then bam, the game downloads. So yeah, GameStop is, like I said, GameStop won't be around for another, I give them another 48 months, and then they won't be here. I think the Xbox One X will be the final straw. And then look, Kmart is going out of business. Kmart's closing like 100 stores, 150 stores. I mean, the last Kmart is in Lexington, Kentucky. It's closing by the end of the year. They're not even going to get Christmas stuff in there. A lot of the stuff that they got in there, they're not reordering it. So once you buy it, you buy it. So, people in there are mad as hell. I was in there the other day, and they're mad as hell that store is closing. So I don't know what they're going to put there. But that if it's Sears, they're closing. So it's just that they're mad as hell. So it's just the way it is. I mean, Sears and Kmart even tried a rent-to-own program for their electronics. They did, and a lot of people did that shit. So you can buy games at Best Buy. Yeah, I agree with you. If Best Buy's got a good program on there, where if you go in there and I think you spend $15 to join their gaming thing, you get 10% off of new titles. I mean, it's not bad if you join it. So, and especially it may be good for me to join it because there's a shit ton of games coming out that I'm going to be buying. So So yeah, but yeah, that's about it, guys. Like I said, I do appreciate you all being here. I made effort. I need to try to get Fox on my podcast too. So you know, it is what it is. So it's just logistically it's hard to do. So, but yeah, PS5. I do. Widowmaker is right. That is speculation, but we've always said it was speculation. You know, it was the articles that are speculating, and what me and J-Dub did is we tried to deduce based on what Sony has done in the past and what Mark Cerny has said in the past, what we think the console will be. But it is speculation. So nevertheless, but you see what they're doing is, well, you all don't know that until they physically announce it. And he's right. Widowmaker is right. But to think that it's not going to be is also silly as well. But he is correct. We don't know the truth. We just don't know. But and we won't know probably for another year. At minimum another year, so maximum 2 years, but to wait and see. But that is it, guys. I'm going to jump on off here, and I am actually going to lay down. So single player online games, all right. Well, again, once my PC is built, I'm gonna be playing Star Citizen. That's my game. So, and I will be enjoying the hell out of that game, provided they don't get sued in a massive lawsuit. So, but a shout out to everybody, One Stop for Gamers, Bear Hugger 29. You all go check out their content, good content over there. Check out Next Gen 720's channel, Portal Rock's channel, Portal Rock 77 with Portal's Point, Titanfall Princess, the first lady of gaming. Go check those channels out. They're always playing games and stuff like that. I will be streaming this weekend, probably Elite Dangerous on the PlayStation. I'm going to set everything up, hopefully on Saturday, God willing. So if anybody wants to play, go ahead and direct message me on Twitter so I can go ahead and send you all an invite on Saturday. I'm off Saturday. Look for me to start sending shit out about 3 o'clock Eastern time. 3 p.m. Eastern time. That's if you want to play, and I get it. If you don't want to, it's Saturday. I get it. It's Saturday, you know? So we can be like, man, fuck you, Craig. I ain't playing it Saturday. So, and I understand that too. But as far as me setting up the game, setting up the room, it will be Saturday. So if you want to play Saturday, look for me on Saturday. But check me out on Twitter, Craig Harris 456. Go ahead and, you know, send me a direct message on Twitter. You ain't got to follow me or nothing. I mean, I laugh at that. People say follow me on Twitter. We don't get nothing if you follow us on Twitter, just so you know. But yeah, go ahead if you want to support the PC bill. Go ahead and hit up the Patreon, Craig Harris 88. But I appreciate everybody being here this early morning. Shout out to everybody on the left coast, the East Coast, and worldwide, because somehow, shockingly, people worldwide are watching the podcast or listening. So shout out to all you guys from Scandinavia to Australia. But I appreciate it, guys. This is Craig Harris, the black man in the green chair. And if you go out at night, wear white. Take it easy. Bye.